I drove 7 hours to see my parents. A stranger opened the door. I live here. I called Mom. Have you moved? She said, we sold the house and went abroad. Our house, which I paid $60,000 for. 3 years later, they showed up. My name is Sophia. I'm 32, and I work as a corporate account manager for this huge company downtown. The pay is pretty decent. Good enough that I managed to snag my own apartment right in the city center. Not bad for a girl who grew up in a small town, right? My family lives about 7 hours away by car in the neighboring state. There's my parents and my younger sister, Emma, who's 24. She still lives at home with them in their house. I know. Some people think that's weird, but honestly, rent is crazy everywhere these days. I don't visit them as much as I probably should. Between work and everything else, it's just easier to stay in touch through phone calls and texting. Plus, 7 hours is a long drive, and while I could fly, I really hate being on planes. If I can drive somewhere, that's what I'm doing. So anyway, last month, my mom called me out of the blue. Sophia, honey, your dad's 60th birthday is coming up in 4 weeks. She said, we're planning something special. 60 years old. Damn, where does the time go? I remember when I thought my parents were ancient, and now here we are. That's great. Mom, what are you guys thinking of doing? Well, we want to throw him a party at the house. You know how your father is. He doesn't like going out to fancy restaurants for celebrations. He'd rather be comfortable at home. That sounded exactly like Dad. The man would wear the same old jeans and flannel shirt to his own funeral if we let him. I'd already been thinking about what to get him for his birthday. My dad has always been into cigars, not like a crazy addiction or anything, but he enjoys a good one on special occasions. So I went to this high-end tobacco shop and found this absolutely gorgeous cigar box. It was handcrafted, made from real mahogany, with brass corners and this beautiful felt lining inside. Cost me a pretty penny, but Dad deserved something special. A few days later, Mom called again. Sophia, I've been thinking about the party, she started. I really don't want to spend all day cooking and cleaning. You know how stressful that gets for me. Yeah, of course, Mom. What do you want to do instead? I was thinking we could just order everything from that nice restaurant downtown. They do catering now, but it's going to cost about $1,800 for everything we need. There it was. The hint wasn't exactly subtle, but that's how Mom operated. She never came right out and asked for money, but she made sure you knew exactly what she needed. Don't worry about it, Mom. I'll send you the money today. I transferred the $1,800 that same day. Mom called back within an hour. Sophia, you're such a good daughter. Thank you so much. The party is going to be on Saturday, the 15th. Can you make it? Absolutely. I'll clear my schedule. And that's exactly what I did. I worked my ass off for the next 3 weeks, making sure all my accounts were handled and my clients were taken care of. I even pushed a couple of meetings to the following week so I could have a long weekend with my family. 2 days before I was supposed to leave, I texted Mom just to double check. Hey, Mom, everything's still good for Saturday? Should I plan to arrive around noon? Yes, everything's perfect. We're so excited to see you. Dad's been asking about you all week. See you Saturday. I felt good about everything. Really good. I had the perfect gift. The party was all set, and I was finally going to get some quality time with my family. It had been too long. Friday night, I packed my bag, made sure my car was ready for the long drive, and set my alarm for 6 a.m. 7 hours on the road meant I'd get there right around lunchtime, which would give me time to settle in, take a shower, and maybe even help with some last-minute party prep. Saturday morning came, and I was out the door by 6:30. The drive was actually pretty nice, not too much traffic once I got out of the city, and the weather was perfect. I had my playlist going, stopped for coffee twice, and made good time. As I got closer to my parents' neighborhood, I started feeling that familiar warmth you get when you're almost home. You know that feeling when you start recognizing the streets and landmarks from your childhood? But when I pulled into their driveway, something felt off. I sat in my car for a minute, looking at the house. Something was different, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was. The yard looked, I don't know, different somehow. And there was something about the front porch that didn't look right. Must have done some landscaping, I said to myself. Or maybe Dad finally fixed that railing he's been complaining about. I grabbed my overnight bag and the cigar box from the back seat and walked up to the front door. The doorbell had a different sound when I pressed it. Weird. After a few seconds, the door opened and I found myself staring at a complete stranger. He was an older guy, maybe in his 70s with gray hair and glasses. He looked just as confused as I felt. Can I help you? He asked. Hi, I'm looking for my parents. This is their house. I'm Sophia. The man's face went from confused to concerned. I'm sorry, young lady, but I think there's been some mistake. I bought this house 2 weeks ago. I don't know anything about your parents or where they might have gone. I just stood there like an idiot, staring at this old man who was living in my parents' house. My brain couldn't process what he just said. "I'm sorry. What did you say?" I asked, even though I'd heard him perfectly. "I bought this house 2 weeks ago from a couple older folks, had a younger woman with them. Nice people. They seemed like they were in a hurry to sell, actually." My hands started shaking. The cigar box felt heavy in my arms. Did they say where they were going? No. I'm afraid not. The realtor handled most of the paperwork. I just signed the documents and moved in. "Is everything okay? You look a little pale." I couldn't even answer him. I mumbled something like thank you and walked back to my car in a daze. This had to be some kind of mistake. Maybe I got the address wrong? But no. I'd been to this house a million times. This was definitely my childhood home. I sat in the driver's seat and pulled out my phone with trembling fingers. Mom's number was right at the top of my recent calls. I hit dial. It went straight to voicemail. "What the hell?" I said out loud. I tried Dad's number, voicemail, Emma's number, voicemail. I called Mom again and again and again. By the 10th call, I was starting to panic. My heart was beating so fast I thought I might pass out. What if something terrible had happened to them? What if they were in some kind of trouble? On the 11th try, Mom finally picked up. "Sophia, why do you keep calling?" Her voice sounded weird, too casual, like she was annoyed with me. "Mom, what the hell is going on? I'm at your house and there's some old guy living here who says he bought it from you 2 weeks ago. Where are you?" There was a long pause. Too long. "Oh, that," she said finally. "Yes, we sold the house." "You what, Mom? What are you talking about? Why didn't you tell me?" "Well, it all happened very quickly, sweetheart. Your sister Emma met this wonderful man from Europe on the internet. He said he was in love with her and invited her and us to come live with him. He has this beautiful villa and his own vineyard. It's like a dream come true." I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. "Europe, Mom? What about Dad's birthday party? What about the catering I paid for? What about, oh, we're actually celebrating your father's birthday right here at the villa today. It's so much nicer than anything we could have done back home." I couldn't breathe. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. "Mom, are you insane? You can't just sell your house and move to another country without telling me. I drove 7 hours to be here. Sophia, you need to calm down. This is a good thing. We're happy here. Really happy. And honestly, you would just interfere and try to give us advice about everything like you always do." "Like I always do? Mom, I've been nothing but supportive. Listen, I have to go now. We have guests arriving for the party. Don't try to find us, okay? We're starting a new life." And she hung up. I sat there staring at my phone like it was a bomb that had just exploded in my hands. Then the whole situation hit me like a truck. The house? The mortgage. 4 years ago, Mom and Dad called me in tears. They were behind on their mortgage payments and the bank was threatening foreclosure. They begged me to help them save their home. "It's just temporary," Dad had said. "We'll pay you back as soon as things get better." So I took over their mortgage payments, the full amount, every single month for 3 years, $1,200 a month, plus I covered the back payments they owed. In total, I paid about $60,000 to save their house. 6 months ago, we finally paid it off completely. I even drove out here to celebrate with them. Mom made a big dinner. Dad opened a bottle of wine, and we toasted to the house finally being theirs free and clear, their house that I had paid for. And now they'd sold it and taken the money and run off to Europe with some stranger. I started laughing. Not because anything was funny, but because the alternative was throwing up all over my steering wheel. They'd planned this, the birthday party asking me for the $1,800 for catering, making sure I cleared my schedule. It was all bullshit. They've been gone for 2 weeks already. 2 weeks. And they let me drive 7 hours thinking I was coming to celebrate my father's 60th birthday. The $1,800 wasn't for catering. It was just another way to squeeze money out of me before they disappeared. I tried calling them back, but now all their numbers went straight to voicemail. They'd blocked me. I opened our family group chat. I'd been removed from it. Facebook, Instagram, everything blocked. They'd erased me from their lives like I never existed. I sat in that driveway for another hour, just trying to process everything. Then I remembered my Aunt Karen, Dad's sister. She lived about 20 minutes away. If anyone would know what was going on, it would be her. "Karen, it's Sophia." "Sophia, how are you, honey? Are you in town for your dad's birthday?" "Aunt Karen, do you know that my parents sold their house and moved to Europe?" There was dead silence. "They what? You didn't know?" "Sophia, what are you talking about?" "I sent your dad a birthday message this morning because I couldn't reach him on the phone. I just figured he was busy getting ready for his party." I told her everything. The stranger in the house, the phone call with Mom, the blocked numbers, all of it. "Those bastards," Karen said when I finished. "I can't believe they would do this to you, especially after everything you've done for them. I don't know what to do, Aunt Karen. I don't even know where to go. You come here right now. You're staying with me tonight, and we're going to figure this out. At least someone in my family still gave a shit about me. I spent that night at Aunt Karen's place, barely sleeping. Every time I closed my eyes, I kept thinking about everything that had happened. The betrayal, the lies, the money I'd spent saving their house, it all kept spinning around in my head like a broken record. When I woke up Sunday morning, something had changed inside me. The hurt was still there, but it was different now. Sharper, cleaner, like a decision had been made while I was sleeping. You know what, Karen? I said over coffee. I'm done with them. They made their choice. They chose to lie to me, steal from me, and throw me away like garbage. So I'm choosing to. I choose to never have anything to do with them again. Karen looked worried. Sophia, they're still your family. Family doesn't do what they did to me. Family doesn't take $60,000 from you and then sell the house you saved and disappear without a word. Family doesn't block your phone number and pretend you don't exist. I meant every word. That morning, driving back home, I felt something I hadn't expected, relief. Like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I didn't have to worry about my parents' problems anymore. I didn't have to send them money or stress about their mortgage or listen to Mom's passive-aggressive hints about needing help. I was free. Over the next 2 years, I threw myself into my work harder than ever before. Got promoted twice. My salary went from decent to really good. And you know what I did with all that money I wasn't sending to my parents anymore? I saved it. I started looking at houses. Real houses, not apartments. I wanted something that was mine, completely mine, where nobody could ever kick me out or sell it out from under me. It took me about 1.5 years to find the perfect place. It was a cute little house in a nice neighborhood, nothing fancy, but it had good bones and a big yard. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and most importantly, no mortgage history involving my lying family members. The day I got the keys was one of the best days of my life. I walked through every room knowing that this was mine. I'd earned it myself, paid for it myself, and nobody could ever take it away from me. I started dating again too. Met a guy named Mike through work. He was a consultant on one of my accounts. Nice guy, down to earth, had his shit together. We'd been seeing each other for about 6 months when everything changed. It was a Tuesday evening. I'd just gotten home from work and was making dinner when my doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone, so I looked through the peephole. My blood turned to ice. Mom, Dad, and Emma were standing on my front porch. They looked like hell, tired, worn out, and they were carrying beat-up suitcases. I stood there for a full minute, just staring at them through the peephole. Part of me wanted to pretend I wasn't home, but they'd obviously seen my car in the driveway. Finally, I opened the door but kept the chain lock on. How did you find my address? I asked through the crack. We asked around, Mom said. She looked older, thinner. Friends, relatives. People talk, you know. What do you want? Without warning, Mom pushed past the chain and stumbled into my house, starting to cry immediately. Sophia, we're so sorry. We made such a terrible mistake. That man, he was a fraud. He took everything from us. I closed the door and crossed my arms. Get out, please, just listen, Dad said. His voice sounded broken. The villa, the vineyard, none of it was his. He was just renting it all. For 3 years, he kept asking us for money. Said he needed it for business expenses, property taxes, all kinds of things. We gave him everything we got from selling the house. Emma finally spoke up. She looked like she'd aged 10 years. He told me he loved me, said we were going to get married. But then one day we came home and he was just gone. Vanished. Left us with nothing. So you barely had enough money for plane tickets back here, I said. My voice sounded cold even to me. That's right, Mom said, wiping her nose with a tissue. We have nothing left, Sophia. Nowhere to go. And you figured you'd just show up here and move in with me? Dad straightened up a little. You're our daughter. We're family. We'll live here until we can get back on our feet. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. You're kidding me, right? After what you did to me? After you stole $60,000 from me and disappeared like thieves in the night? We didn't steal anything, Mom said defensively. That money was a loan. Bullshit, I screamed. You know damn well you never intended to pay me back. And then you sold the house I saved and took that money too. They all started talking at once, making excuses, begging, trying to guilt trip me. The usual family manipulation tactics. I walked to the front door and opened it wide. Get out now. Sophia, please get out of my house right now or I'm calling the police. That got their attention. They grabbed their suitcases and shuffled toward the door. You can't just abandon your family, Dad said as he passed me. I'm not abandoning anyone, I replied. I'm just learning from the best. I slammed the door behind them and locked it. Then I went to the window and watched them drag their suitcases down my street, looking lost and pathetic. I felt nothing. No guilt, no sadness, no regret, just empty relief that they were gone. But I knew this wasn't over. People like them don't give up that easily, especially when they're desperate. So I did what any smart person would do. I went online and started researching home security systems. The security company came out the next day. I went all out. Motion sensors, door alarms, window sensors, and cameras covering every angle of my property. For the next few weeks, my phone rang constantly. Different numbers, but always the same voices when I picked up. Mom crying and begging. Dad trying to sound authoritative and demanding I do the right thing. Emma sobbing about how sorry she was and how she'd learned her lesson. I hung up on all of them every single time. Then Aunt Karen called. Sophia, your parents showed up at my house last night. Let me guess, they wanted to stay with you. Yes, and I told them absolutely not. I said what they did to you was unforgivable and they needed to figure out their own problems. Good for you, Karen. But, Sophia, they looked really bad. Like they've been sleeping in their car or something. Part of me feels terrible. Don't, I said firmly. They made their choices. They burned their bridges. This is what consequences look like. Karen sighed. I know you're right. It's just hard to see families struggling like that. They're not struggling because of bad luck or circumstances beyond their control. They're struggling because they're greedy, lying thieves who got exactly what they deserved. After about 2 months of the constant phone calls and harassment, things finally got quiet. I figured they'd either given up or found somewhere else to go. Either way worked for me. Mike and I were getting more serious. He'd started staying over on weekends and we'd even talked about him moving in eventually. He knew bits and pieces about what had happened with my family, but I hadn't told him the whole story. Some things are just too crazy to believe unless you live through them. I had a big presentation coming up for work, so I scheduled a business trip to our regional office 3 states over. It was supposed to be a 4-day trip, fly out Monday morning, presentation on Tuesday, follow-up meetings Wednesday and Thursday, fly back Thursday night. The trip went great. The presentation was a huge success, and my boss was already talking about another promotion. I was feeling really good about everything as I caught my flight home Thursday evening. But when the plane landed and I turned my phone back on, I had about 15 missed calls and a bunch of text messages. Most of them were from my security company. Urgent multiple motion alerts detected at your property. Urgent break-in attempt detected. Authorities have been notified. Urgent intruders have fled the scene. Please call immediately. My heart started pounding. I called the security company from the airport while waiting for my bags. Miss Chen, this is Dave from Safeguard Security. We've been trying to reach you. I was on a plane. What happened? We detected a break-in attempt at your property at approximately 2:30 a.m. this morning. 3 individuals attempted to force entry through your back door. The alarm scared them off, and they fled the scene before police arrived. Did you get them on camera? Yes, ma'am. Crystal clear footage. The police have copies. I felt sick to my stomach, but not surprised. I knew exactly who those 3 individuals were. When I got home around midnight, there were obvious signs of attempted break-in around my back door, scratches on the lock, damage to the doorframe where they tried to pry it open. If I hadn't had that security system installed, they probably would have succeeded. The next morning, I called the police to get a copy of the incident report. Officer Martinez met me at my house and showed me the footage on his tablet. There they were, clear as day. Mom, Dad, and Emma creeping around my backyard at 2:30 in the morning like common criminals. Mom was holding a flashlight while Dad worked on the door with what looked like a crowbar. Emma was standing watch. Do you know these individuals? Officer Martinez asked. Unfortunately, yes, they're my parents and sister. His eyebrows shot up. Your family tried to break into your house? It's a long story, officer, but yes, and I want to press charges. Before he could respond, my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize, but when I answered, I heard Mom's voice. Sophia, please don't hang up. Officer Martinez gestured for me to keep her talking while he took notes. What do you want, Mom? I know you're angry about last night, but we were desperate. We've been sleeping in our car for weeks. It's getting cold, and you just needed to break into my house like criminals? We're not criminals. We're your family. Criminals break into other people's houses. That's exactly what you did. And I have you on video. There was a long pause. You can't give that video to the police. We'll go to jail. Actually, Mom, I'm looking at a police officer right now. He's seen the video and we're filing charges. She started crying again. Sophia, you can't do this to us. We're your parents. You stopped being my parents the day you stole from me and disappeared. You're just 3 strangers who committed a crime on my property. We'll leave you alone. We promise. Just don't press charges. Too late for that. You should have thought about consequences before you decided to become burglars. Goodbye, Mom. I hung up and looked at Officer Martinez. I want a restraining order too. I think that's a smart idea. The restraining order was approved within a week. 500 feet minimum distance, no contact of any kind. Violation would result in immediate arrest. 2 years have passed since then. Mike and I are engaged now, planning a small wedding next spring. We're both doing well at work, and we're thinking about maybe getting a dog. I honestly have no idea what happened to my parents and Emma after they got arrested. I assume they went to jail, got out eventually, and are somewhere figuring out their own lives. I don't know and I don't care. Mike knows the whole story now. At first, he couldn't believe people could be so awful to their own family member, but he's seen the police reports and the security footage. He says he's proud of me for standing up for myself and not letting them manipulate me. I still have the security system. It's not because I'm worried about them anymore. It's just good to have. Makes me feel safe and in control of my own space. Sometimes people ask me if I miss my family or if I ever think about reaching out to them. The answer is no. You can't miss people who were never really there for you in the first place. And you can't reach out to people who only want to take from you. I'm living my best life now. Got my dream house, a great career, a man who actually respects me, and a future that's entirely in my own hands. No drama, no manipulation, no guilt trips, no surprise visits from thieves in the night. Some people might think I'm cold or heartless for cutting them off completely, but those people probably never had family members steal $60,000 from them and then try to break into their house.